to get into a HR career, if they're already in an organisation and a job, then really, reach out within your organisation, reach out to HR and say, I'm interested in doing some projects or to shadowing people in HR to learn about it. Really draw on those internal and external networks. And there's lots of organisations now that, offer opportunities, internships for people to get some experience in HR.
So they need to know systems. They need to be quite comfortable with processes, administration, and all the rest of it. Now, if somebody wanted to come in later in their career, again, they need good people experience. Management, maybe something like that. And that's what I was saying earlier. It depends what level you're coming into as to how hard it becomes.
Get involved in something like your local caravan club who needs some help, where you can help with the drafting of policies or something like that. Take yourself on inexpensive ACAS courses to understand a little bit about employment law, so that you can have that kind of level of experience, and be enthusiastic. So when I think of some of the people that I've taken on who've had no HR experience, I was always looking for people that probably with a strong admin background, that had a bit of nous, that were able to work on their own initiative, were able to gather information and come up with solutions. The solutions might not be right, but they weren't afraid to come up with a solution. And I think that's one of the skills that you need to have in HR is almost to think wider than simply the black and white of employment law. It's if I put this in, this might not be quite what we want, but this is the benefit that it'll bring the business.
Doing some work experience, showing some interest if you're working within it at the moment, doing an internship, doing an apprenticeship. There's so many different angles to get into it, because when you're an employer, people will take opportunities, but they're more likely to take the risks and opportunities with people that are within the business. But I think it's about showing your interest, trying to get some experience and trying to understand really what the role does, plus the breadth of roles that you can do, because it's one of those fields that can be so very, very wide in what you can be. A specialist, you can be a generalist, you can do a bit of both. There's all sorts of new skill sets coming through as well.
And what you think you're really good at, and what you could actually, if you go back to your CV and selling yourself, you could do a functional CV, and I would see as critical things of administration, customer service, IT skills, communications, relationship skills. I'd be looking at those and really highlighting those, one on your CV, and then think about roles that you might, you could start off in a payroll function, for example, which would be a way to get into a more broader HR function. And I've had lots of examples in my career where I've taken people on and they've become very successful HR directors.
So for me, I would say if you've not worked in HR, look at what else you've done that can relate to that kind of role, whether it's planning an event, organising a big birthday party. There's all sorts of skills that people have in everyday life. And you just need to harness that and think about, well, how can I apply this to the role that I'm applying for? So people without HR experience, particularly now, aren't excluded from, or shouldn't be excluded from, going into HR roles. But what you're looking for is the skills and attributes and behaviours that person has got, how that can be applied.
Whether they're flexible and they're adaptable. Because if they're not adaptable to different environment and be agile, then HR can be really struggle. For certain, I've seen this in my career. I've seen many HR professionals where they can't change. The sector is so important, they can't actually transfer to another sector.
And people will have skills from the job that they're already doing, demonstrating how they apply that and how they make the workplace a better place because of it, or how they add to productivity as a result of that, is really important to do. Again, it's selling yourself. How would you be visible? How would you be valuable to them? And how would you use that in terms of encouraging the workforce into a different way of operating?
But what is it you're trying to come in to do? Because, every profession is the same, isn't it? The further up the food chain you get, it becomes less about technical knowledge and more about leadership and relationship building and stakeholder engagement, business acumen. Well, that's applicable to every profession, not just HR. It's the more junior levels of the role where it's more around policy, process, legislation.
having that sort of that interest, that curiosity, how the business works, curiosity in terms of where the business is going, the curiosity in terms of what's going on in the marketplace that your business is in, and then doing something with that curiosity. So it's then kind of like going, okay, so what does that mean specifically from a people perspective? And if you have that interest, that curiosity, and you apply that where you are, then people are going to notice that. Get a job, right? That's the key thing. Work, be in employment, work hard. Again, be curious, take an interest, put yourself forward, volunteer for things.